The promise usually arrives quietly, not shouted, not forced. It comes when people are already listening, when they are tired of guessing, when they want the future to slow down and explain itself. The room feels gentle, warm lights, soft music, chairs spaced just right, nothing sharp, nothing urgent. Time feels slower here, like it has been padded. You are not rushed, you are not pushed. You are told there is time. People sit with their hands folded or resting on their laps. Some look forward, some look down. Some close their eyes for a moment longer than needed. No one looks confused. Everyone looks hopeful in their own way. There are words on the walls, simple ones: change, growth, healing, breakthrough. They are not instructions, they are reminders. You don't have to understand them, you only have to feel them. The stage is calm, empty but ready. Nothing dramatic, no pressure. Just the sense that something good will happen here. Soon, not now. Soon. You notice how easy it is to wait. Waiting feels different in this space. It does not feel like loss. It feels like preparation. Like the pause before something finally works. The promise does not demand belief yet. It invites patience. It says, stay a little longer. It says, you are closer than you think. It says, this time might be the one. People nod when nothing has been said. They smile at the right moments, even before there are moments. They are already aligned with the future being described. No one is asked for proof. No one asks for proof. That would feel strange here, like interrupting a story before it reaches the good part. The promise works because it explains delay, why things have not changed yet, why success has not arrived, why healing is still waiting. It does not deny struggle, it gives struggle a reason. You look around and feel less alone. Everyone is waiting for something, different details, same shape. The promise does not solve anything yet. It doesn't need to. It only needs to make waiting feel meaningful. And when waiting feels meaningful, people stop asking how long it will last. This is where Carl Jung would begin to watch more closely. Not the promise itself, but what people place inside it. Jung believed the mind fills empty spaces. When something is unclear, imagination steps in. The promise leaves just enough space for that to happen. It is vague on purpose. It does not describe the miracle in detail. It lets each person supply their own version. One person imagines relief. Another imagines recognition. Another imagines money, health, peace, or control. The promise never corrects them. It does not need to. It becomes a mirror. Jung would notice how hope acts like a container. People pour into it the parts of themselves they don't want to face yet. Fear, regret, exhaustion. The promise holds these feelings gently, without naming them. This feels kind. When pain is unnamed, it feels lighter. When desire is unspoken, it feels safer. The promise allows people to believe without exposing themselves. Projection does the work here. People are not believing in the same future. They are believing in their own future, reflected back at them. That makes belief feel personal, even when it is shared. Jung warned that projection feels strongest when it is unconscious, when people don't realize they are doing it. Here, projection feels natural, almost automatic. The promise never asks, "What do you want?" It already knows you will answer inside yourself. This is why the promise feels intimate, even in a crowd. Everyone feels seen without being singled out. Everyone feels understood without being questioned. The promise does not lie. It simply stays open. And open spaces invite filling. Jung would not say this is manipulation. He would say it is human. When the future is uncertain, people reach for images that soothe them. The promise provides those images without resistance. Hope becomes a shared activity. Quiet, internal, invisible. The room feels full, even though nothing has been given yet. And when people begin to believe in what they have imagined themselves, the promise no longer needs to speak. certain words begin to feel heavier than others, not because they are explained, but because they are repeated with confidence. This is the point Friedrich Nietzsche would notice the tone change. The promise sounds kind, it sounds careful, it sounds certain. It does not argue, it reassures. And reassurance feels close to truth when people are tired. Nietzsche paid attention to moments like this, moments when truth is no longer tested, only felt. When something feels good enough, strong enough, hopeful enough, people stop asking if it is true. They ask if it is helpful. The promise offers meaning without struggle. It explains pain without blaming. It turns failure into delay. It turns waiting into growth. That feels fair. It feels moral. Morality here is gentle. No one is told they are wrong. No one is judged. Everyone is included. That softness makes doubt feel unnecessary. Why question something that feels kind? Nietzsche warned that comfort can become a value on its own. When comfort becomes the goal, truth becomes flexible. It bends to protect hope. It softens sharp edges. It stays quiet when answers are missing. The promise does not say, "This is true." It says, "This helps." And for many people, that feels like the same thing. People begin to speak differently. Their words sound calmer, more certain. They repeat phrases they've heard, even outside the room. The promise becomes a language. Nietzsche would notice how quickly belief turns into identity. When people say, "This works for me," they also mean, "This is who I am now." Questioning the promise would feel like questioning themselves. Truth becomes personal. What feels right matters more than what can be checked. Evidence feels cold. Hope feels warm. Nietzsche did not attack hope. He warned about what happens when hope replaces honesty, when belief becomes a shield that protects people from disappointment by delaying it. In this space, truth does not disappear. It becomes optional. People choose the version that allows them to keep going. And once truth becomes a choice, comfort often wins. Attention slowly shifts from words to results. Not results that can be measured, but results that can be felt. This is the space Niccolò Machiavelli would observe without reacting. Promises do not need to come true all at once. They only need to stay alive. As long as something might happen, the system holds. Machiavelli watched how power survives through delay. When outcomes are pushed forward, responsibility moves with them. The promise is always almost ready. The breakthrough is close. The change is coming. Just not yet. This creates a quiet balance. People stay invested because leaving would mean admitting the promise may never arrive. Staying feels safer than starting over. Who benefits becomes clearer over time, not through miracles, but through structure. The promise keeps people returning, listening, giving attention, giving trust. The system continues to function even without fulfillment. No one is forced. That is important. Power here is voluntary. People choose to wait. They choose to believe. That choice protects the system from blame. Machiavelli understood that power works best when people defend it themselves, when they explain delays to each other, when they reassure newcomers, when they say, "It worked for me in ways you can't see yet." The promise creates loyalty without contracts. It organizes behavior quietly. People adjust their expectations instead of questioning the source. Results are reframed. Small improvements are celebrated. Setbacks are explained as tests. Failure becomes part of the story, not evidence against it. The promise also narrows focus. Attention stays fixed on the future being offered. Other possibilities fade. Other paths feel risky. Machiavelli would not ask if the promise is true. He would ask if it keeps people aligned, if it holds attention, if it sustains influence. And here it does. The promise does not need to deliver miracles. It only needs to keep the door open. As long as the future remains possible, power remains stable. In this way, the promise becomes its own result. Belief works best when it points forward. Napoleon Hill spent his life watching this. He noticed that people move faster when they believe tomorrow will reward today. The Promise speaks this language fluently. Hill believed belief needs a picture of the future, not a clear plan, just a shape, something better than now, something close enough to feel reachable. The Promise provides that shape without detail. It says, "You are on the right path." That is often enough. People begin to organize their lives around the Promise. Small choices change first. How they think, how they speak, how they explain their situation to others. The Promise gives their effort a story. Effort feels lighter when it has a destination. Hill admired belief because belief creates motion. People act differently when they expect success. They show up more, they listen longer, they stay hopeful during delays. The Promise keeps belief active even when nothing visible changes. Belief also protects itself. When belief feels productive, people don't want to disturb it. Doubt starts to look like sabotage. Questions feel risky. If belief is working emotionally, why slow it down? The Promise does not need to guarantee miracles, it only needs to suggest progress. Small signs are enough. A better mood, a calmer mind, a sense of direction. These become proof that belief is doing something. Hill focused on results, but not always on outcomes. He watched behavior, and belief clearly changes behavior. People keep investing time, attention, and trust because belief gives meaning to the wait. The future remains just ahead, close but never fully here. That distance matters. If the Promise arrived completely, belief would have nothing left to fuel it. Belief needs room to keep moving. This is the quiet strength of the Promise. It never closes the story. It keeps the ending open. As long as the future can still improve, belief stays alive. People are not foolish for trusting the Promise. They are human. The Promise gives shape to hope. It makes uncertainty feel organized. And when belief feels organized, people stop asking who benefits from it continuing. They look forward instead. Until the next observation.